Welcome to the Private Practice Startup, where we inspire you from startup to mastery. We chat with entrepreneurs, experts in the mental health and business arenas, and successful private practitioners to give you the tools needed to make your dream practice a reality. Visit theprivatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, free trainings, and so much more. Here are your hosts, Dr. Kate Campbell and Katie Lemieux. What's up, Startup Nation? We are back with another episode of the Private Practice Startup podcast, and we're doing things a little bit different with our intro here. We pre-recorded our podcast episode, and Katie right now is actually on a plane flying all the way to Greece. So she is on her way for a much-needed, well-deserved vacation. And I'm holding down the PPS for it here in sunny South Florida. So I wanted to record a quick intro for our episode. And if you haven't heard our last episode yet, we had Amy Lassiter on the show. It was a really fun interview. The cowbell was ringing. We had lots of authentic, meaningful, inspiring conversations focused on 4 steps to shift your mindset and create clarity. And if you guys are first-time listeners and you haven't heard our podcast before, welcome. We are so excited to have you here. If you're return listeners, awesome. It's great to have you back. If you guys haven't already connected with us on our Facebook group, make sure to do that. Just go on Facebook and ask to be a part of the Private Practice Startup Facebook group, and we will connect with you there and our Startup Nation community. Before we get started, we want to take a moment to thank our sponsors for today's episode, Therapy Notes. They're an electronic health record who provides comprehensive, simple to use, secure, and streamlined practice management systems. So from easy to use templates to simple electronic claim submission, Therapy Notes has really everything that you need to maintain your client records, schedule appointments, bill insurance, and it's all right at your fingertips, which is really cool. They actually have worked with over 25,000 therapists, and we interviewed the CEO, Brad Pliner, on our podcast a couple months ago. That was episode 54 if you guys want to go back and learn more about what they do as an EHR. So definitely check out that episode. And the best part about working with Therapy Notes is that you can get a 30-day free trial and your first year 10% off. So head over to their website, therapynotes.com, enter the promo code PPS17, that's as in the Private Practice Startup. And don't forget to enter the code PPS17. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into our show with Katie May, aka the Group Guru, on 5 ways to market groups in your private practice.
So today our guest, and this is really exciting because we had just finished a really awesome live webinar with Katie May, and she really is the group guru. And I have to say that really slow because I totally tongue twisted it last time.
Yes.
And she's going to be talking to us today about how to become a group guru. Goodness, great. You guys try to say that like 3 times.
Guru. I definitely have to say it slow myself because I tongue-tied words all the time.
So we're excited to have Katie here because she is super passionate about branding and marketing just like us. So we can't wait to hear what she has to say about really creating groups in your practice and how to grow groups in your practice. That's not something that I have, and I'm always just really interested in that. So Katie, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Kate and Katie. I'm so excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. And I'm so curious at what you're going to say because there's so many therapists who try so hard to get groups running in their practice. And they just have a really hard time starting groups and finding enough clients for their groups and people who are committed and marketing it. So I'm really excited to hear what you have to say because I know Startup Nation is going to be looking forward to this as well.
Yeah, I think what's different about groups, as opposed to individual clients is you open your doors, you start to get this trickle of clients and build your caseload. But with groups, the challenge really comes in getting a bunch of people through the door all at once. So it's a little bit of a different animal than just your individual practice.
For sure. So before we jump into our topic, tell us what led you into the business you're in now.
Oh, okay. So, the business I'm in terms of being a therapist is I just love being a therapist. And when I started my private practice, I was transitioning from working in a partial hospital program to working in my own private practice. And what I noticed is because the partial hospital was mostly group based, that a lot of the teens that I worked with were saying, I wish I had something like this to continue in the outpatient setting. Like I found the group really helpful because, teens gravitate towards their peers. It's developmentally appropriate. So I decided to fill that hole in the market as a way to grow my private practice. So I started my private practice with a group of 6 teenagers and built trust with them and built my name in the community as someone who offered groups to teenagers. And then that one group turned into individual clients because they trusted me in that group setting and wanted to work more with me individually. And then that group turned into 2 groups. And then eventually it turned into 7 groups. And now my center has 10 groups that run through it all at one time. And so when I was thinking about, how I wanted to spend my time, I'm a person who likes to stay energized, who likes to keep going, who has a lot of creative ideas. And I see teenagers at night. I had all this time during the day, and there's only so much time you can do yoga and walk your dog and watch Netflix. So
wait. And I saw that you like Mexican and eat Mexican food.
Yes, I do. Huge taco enthusiast. So there's only so much time that I can do those other things. I wanted to spend my time supporting therapists and getting their message out into the world and helping them support their populations in growing groups, because I'm a big believer in the power of group and connection as a way to help people heal. So I knew I wanted to do something to support therapists and in getting their clients in groups as well. And that's kind of how this all came about.
And I loved your post this week. And I know I responded to it about like the Facebook and the bus stop. Share with people about that.
Yeah. So we recently moved into a new home. We had been living in a 2-bedroom apartment, which was great, but there, no storage. So everything I owned, I could see all the time. So I was really excited to move into a new home, and we were at the bus stop, all new parents, and they were all just kind of like making fun of Facebook and it was the first week of school saying like, oh, should I put this picture on Facebook? I just hate how people put their kids' pictures on Facebook. It's such a waste of time, and kind of like talking about it in a negative way. And so my husband winked at me and said, should we tell them how Facebook bought our house for us? Because I really have used Facebook as my main vehicle for marketing my groups, to the point where it's helped me grow my groups, grow my practice, fill 6 other clinicians' schedules to start a group practice. So Facebook has been this amazing tool for me. So kind of like the other side of, it's not a waste of time. It can be a really valuable tool.
Yeah, I love that.
So funny, because literally Facebook bought my house for me too.
Really?
Investing in Facebook. Yeah. Having Facebook stock. That's part of the reason we were able to buy our house. Yeah.
I can totally see you guys like creating 2 blogs. Facebook bought my house.
That's awesome though.
So Katie, share with our audience the best advice you've ever received that relates to building a business and becoming an entrepreneur.
Yeah. So my best advice would be that marketing is about relationships, that marketing and relationships are kind of the same thing. And there are lots of platforms on which you can build those relationships, Facebook being one of them, email list being another one. Some people like doing coffee dates and things like that. But ultimately, marketing is just about building relationships with prospective clients and referral sources and nurturing those relationships by adding value to them and making sure that they're reciprocal.
You should have been on our podcast yesterday with Joe. We were talking.
You read my mind.
We were talking about. Well, I'm not going to give away our topic because it's a little spicy.
It's a little sassy. Yes, sassy and spicy.
But we were saying the same thing about marketing, and so I love that.
It's a great reframe.
The majority of the practice building coaches are really all about ideal client and talking about branding and marketing, and I think that's where we totally gel on the same message. And then of course we all offer our own unique perspectives in different ways, and it's supporting the right people at the right time and what they need to hear. So awesome. And let's jump into your topic. So 5 ways to market groups in your practice.
Yes. Do you want me to just get started? Or do you have
Let's dive right in.
I'm going to hand it over to you, and then we'll ask along the way.
Awesome. Okay. So there are lots of ways to market your group, and most of them involve you getting visible in some way in front of your community and building those relationships. So I'll piggyback off of my last statement by sharing that one of the biggest ways that I've built my know, like, and trust factor in the community, which is what I call it, like getting people to know me, getting people to trust that what I do is of quality care, and getting them to refer to me, is by building a referral network with other people in the community. And I do this, my specific strategy for this is by reaching out to other people in the community and sharing my gratitude for what they do. So I don't like to go on coffee dates. I don't do a lot of like in-person networking and marketing with other people in the community. It's just not my style. And I don't have the time for it either. So what I typically do is I'll go on Psychology Today and other online directories, and I'll find other therapists in my area who are doing something similar to what I do. And I'll reach out to them and I'll say something like, hey, Jennifer, came across your profile and noticed that you also work with teens. It's really awesome that we both support a similar population in this community. I work with teens in groups and would love to hear more about what you do and your ideal client, so that if I have a client who needs individual care, that I have a quality therapist to refer to. And so that plays on those psychological triggers of reciprocity, of connection, of building an authentic relationship that's not just about do something for me and what's in this for me.
I love that you do that and really extending value to them and letting them know that you're really interested in them. In many of the professional, development things that I've placed myself in, we always would talk about the radio station WIIFM. So what's in it for me, right? Yeah. Most people are wondering that, and we really have to provide value. And that's really important. So I love that you reach out, really extending your hand and expressing interest over there on the other side.
And it's such an organic way, and being able to recognize what your strengths are. And if you're not someone who's an extrovert and loves to go out and grab coffee with people or go to networking events or, spend all that time trying to nurture those referral relationships, being able to do that through the strategy that you just suggested, which is so genuine and just so organic, it seems really cool.
Yeah. And I will add to that I only reach out to people that I truly and genuinely want to connect with and would be excited to connect with. It's not like this, anyone and everyone who works with teens is someone that I'm reaching out to. It's only people that I vibe with. I like to share with my community, like I have social anxiety, put me in a room with a bunch of people and I'll be in the corner texting on my phone and wishing that I wasn't there. So I totally think that it's playing to your strengths in ways that work for you. And you definitely don't have to attend every networking meeting in your community in order to build a name for yourself.
For sure. Share with us another way to grow your group practice.
Yeah. So another thing that I do is nurture prospective clients by growing my email list. So I know therapists that don't have an email list. For me, it's been one of my core strategies. I started it really, the first few people on it were like my second email plus my mom and my dad. And I was sending out the email every week. But then it grew organically over time. And then as I learned the tools and the techniques, I was able to use some paid advertising to grow it even faster and learn some new strategies as well. But every single Sunday at 11 o'clock, I write it beforehand, but it gets sent out every single Sunday at 11 o'clock. I send out this email that is some kind of tip, trick, tool, resource, technique that parents can use to best support their teens who are experiencing overwhelming emotions. So it might be like 7 ways to manage anxiety at the beginning of the school year, or it might be like, here's how you can mindfully interact with your family this weekend and power down, or how to help teens and navigate social media. Or, so I'm giving them this valuable information every single week and nurturing them over time. And then when I'm filling a new group, I will also add in, if this information was helpful to you, here's how you can connect with us and explore whether you're a good fit for this new group. Here's who it's for. Here are the benefits of it. Here's how to apply for a space in group. So what happens is I can track when people sign up for my email list, and someone might sign up and spend 8 months opening my emails. And then I might have an offering for a workshop or a group where then they'll reach out, they'll email me, or they'll call the office and say, I've been following you. I really like what it is that you're offering. And now I'd like to sign my teen up for something. So it's about nurturing those relationships until they know, like, and trust you and are ready to come on in and see what it's all about.
And I'm sure those Startup Nation members that are listening right now are wondering, how do you get people on your email list?
Yeah. So one of the biggest ways that I get them on my list is through Facebook. So I show up every single day on Facebook. I post daily. I do live streams. I boost posts to cast a wider net to people in my community. One of the great things about boosting posts and ads for local businesses is that you don't have to be as skilled at knowing how to target if you know how to target to your local community and have a few other tricks under your belt. So I use Facebook a lot to, again, share tips, tricks, resources, things that will help solve initial pain points for the parents of my prospective clients. And then I'll add in freebies. So something like a printable PDF or an extra video that's gated and they have to enter their email address in order to access it. A second way that I do that is on my blog itself. So every email that I send out to my list on Sundays, I also put onto my blog on my website. And sometimes I'll add what's called bonus blog content, where again, it's like an extra worksheet that I might have used in group that week, or an extra visual that might help them understand the concept of that blog. And it's gated content where if they found the information in the blog itself helpful, they can go ahead and enter their email address and get that second piece of information, but then they're added to my email address.
So it's almost like you have 2 different marketing populations, because you have the teens and then you also have the parents, because the parents are most often paying for the teens to come and see you and maybe encouraging them to come and see you. So how do you balance that with the content that you're producing so that you're speaking to dual audiences simultaneously?
Yeah. So I'm not necessarily speaking to dual audiences. I mean, I know my client avatar, the client that I work with, that ideal client, I know them inside and out from working with that population for 7 years. But in addition to that, I know the decision makers for that ideal client. And I think it's really important that we market to the decision makers. So I know the kinds of pain points that my teens struggle with, and I can speak to them in my content, but I can also speak to it in a way that is helping parents help their teens, or helping parents find relief in how they support their teens. And that's what gets them to reach out to me and say how helpful my information has been. I wouldn't market to teens because they're not the ones that are making the decisions in their own treatment for the most part. That is why I find Facebook more helpful, where I know that more teens are on Snapchat and Instagram, but marketing to them, I think, would give me less return on my time and investment.
Gotcha. That makes
Good
a lot
point.
of sense.
Yeah, I really like it. And Katie, I'm assuming because you just look super fun, and I see like some of your pictures and arts and crafts and stuff like that. Do you tend to get a lot of like word of mouth, like obviously teen to teen, and then their parent coming into the group, like asking or contacting you? I mean, do you happen to get referrals that way as well?
I do. One of the ways that I share that's really amazing for marketing is just offering amazing groups that then people are talking about. So there's a couple of ways that I do this. One is offering the group, and the teens really like it. And they'll actually say, like, I gave my friend your email address, or I gave my friend your phone number. You can expect to hear from them. So I do get a lot of referrals from teens, and also the parents of those teens, because of the services that I provide. But I also share a lot of what I'm doing in groups. Like you had mentioned, like it looks like we do fun and creative things, and we totally do. So I do a lot of like behind the scenes sneak peeks of here's a product of something that we did. Like I'll show an example of an art activity that was done in a group, or I'll get on a Facebook Live and I'll say, hey, group tonight was really powerful. Here's the activity that we did. We went up to the bridge and we threw rocks off, and we talked about letting go of painful feelings. So I'm not sharing like client information and literal content that was discussed by clients, but I'm sharing about the activities that we did and the outcomes that I had hoped that activity would provide. And a lot of times parents will call me and say, I thought you were a good fit for my teen, and we watched your videos together and they agreed, and that's why they're agreeable to come in and meet with you.
So awesome.
Yeah, I love that.
it.
That's really cool.
That's a hashtag awesome sauce.
Oh, I love that.
That is really cool. Of course, I want to just like dive in and be like, tell me more about all your groups. But I know I got to stick to the structure and the topic today. But yeah, any other little cool ninja tips about like peeking inside of the back doors of your groups and what that looks like? We'd love to hear that too. But let's stick with marketing for now. So what's the next tip?
Okay, so wait, I talked about Facebook. I like to show up on Facebook every single day. I believe that everybody's on Facebook. I think that, what is there, like 2 or 3 billion users on there. So I like to stay consistent, and that's a big part of my strategy. So I like to say that if you show up for people consistently, they begin to show up for you by emailing you and calling the office. I think that sometimes people will like put up a post or do an ad or try any of these strategies once or twice and say they're not working because they're not getting calls or they're not seeing the engagement that they'd like to. But I liken marketing to going to the gym. Like you wouldn't go to the gym once and come out and be like, why aren't I buff? I'm never doing this again. It's like, it's a strategy and it's consistency, and people begin to rely on you. I have a therapist that I'm working with now in one of my courses, and she actually was doing videos and worried that people weren't paying attention to them and that they weren't getting the engagement natively on Facebook that she would have liked to see. But then she stopped doing them. And then people started reaching out to her and saying, where were those videos? I woke up every Monday and I watched your videos and I relied on them, and now they're not there. So I always come to it from the stance that people are watching, people are listening, and I show up for that 1 or 2 people that need to hear that message that I have to say that day. And I know that I'm making an impact on at least one person.
I love it. And you're right. It's sometimes hard because we're not getting that immediate feedback and we don't know. And there's sometimes that people will respond to me and be like, I listen to your stuff or I watch it and it's so helpful. You're so inspirational. And it's like, okay, so someone is out there like receiving it. And it's hard sometimes.
It's so funny. Yeah. Even to do a Facebook Live, sometimes, when you do it, there'll be people that jump on, you can interact, and it's like, it's more engaging and interactive. And then there's sometimes where you're just on it and everybody watches it after the fact. And then you're like, okay, I feel like I'm talking to, nothing. I'm just talking out loud and talking and talking and talking. Is anybody listening out there? Hello.
That's how we felt when we were first doing podcasts, because it was such a new area for us in the online world, is because when you podcast and you do like webinars, it's almost like you're making a joke and then there's no response and you're like, I hope that was funny.
I'm always funny. What are you talking about? I think
exactly.
My husband likes to joke that it's all like unicorns and rainbows and like fairies telling me how amazing I am in my own head. And he's not that far off. I think you need to be your own biggest fan when you're marketing. Otherwise, it's not going to come across as exciting and engaging and as energetic as you'd like it to. I see a lot of people struggle with Facebook Lives because, like you said, it's almost like dead air that they're talking to. But I like to imagine that I'm talking to that ideal client that really needs to hear what I have to say and is on the other end listening and thanking me. And I think that Facebook live streams especially are so important in this day and age. One, because the Facebook algorithms favor them and it pushes them up. And so more people see them. I had a therapist I'm working with recently tell me that she's done several Facebook Lives, and the more she does, the more engagement that she sees. So it's almost like Facebook is rewarding her for doing more and more of them. And I think that whether or not people watch them, it enhances your credibility as a professional. Like when people see that you're doing videos, you're standing out among the sea of other therapists who might have an online directory or might have like a very simple website. But when you have some kind of presence that's consistent and is up leveled because you're doing videos and podcasts and all of these other things, I think it increases your credibility as a professional.
Are you sure you're not a secret Facebook guru too?
I mean, I just closed the cart for my Facebook course. So
I didn't know you had one. Okay. Because you're like hitting on everything. And I was like, that's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite strategies. I guess I would add to that to, widen or broaden our topic here, the blogging that I do. Like I said, I do an email every week that I send out, but I also put it up on my website as a blog. So I think that, again, just showing up in different ways, people consume content in different ways, whether, some people like to read, some people like to listen, some people like to watch. So having it in different places on different platforms and in different media can help people consume it and see you all over the place. People say to me like, oh my God, do you ever sleep? You're everywhere all the time. But it's really just like reimagining the same information in several different ways so that it hits to different people and to different learning styles. And I like to say, never shut up about what you do. Like I like to think that what I'm doing is helping people all the time. So I'm solving problems and pain points with the blogs and the newsletters and the emails and the Facebook posts that I'm creating.
Yeah, so being able to repurpose content is obviously something that's really important.
Someone said to me recently, he said, Katie, blogging is really important for the 9-to-5ers. Why? Because they're sitting at their desk and they really can't watch a video and like let people know that they're on their phone.
Yeah.
So they like to read the blog.
True. Yeah, I can picture myself when I worked at the Partial program and I knew like I would have wanted to watch a video or a webinar or something live and I just couldn't because my computer at work wouldn't even allow me to watch those things if I wanted to. So being able to read through a blog is super important. And I think people worry like, well, I can't say the same thing in a Facebook live stream video that I already wrote in a blog, but yes, you can. And it only reinforces your branding and your niche as an expert in a certain area if you're talking about it on different platforms and similarly, but at a little bit different.
You know you can help a couple through a rough patch, and you know that you can help that rebellious teenager see his own worth. You are the right person for the job. The only problem? That rebellious teenager and struggling couple, they just don't know that you're the perfect person for the job. In fact, they don't even know you exist. Why? Because you aren't getting in front of your ideal clients. Your web presence or lack thereof is hindering your ability to work with the people that you know you can help. You deserve to be found by your ideal client, and your ideal client deserves to find you.
Brighter Vision is the trusted solution by thousands of therapists worldwide, helping therapists connect with their ideal clients. For only $59 a month, you get a uniquely designed website, unlimited tech support, and complimentary SEO. And that's not all. Brighter Vision has a ton of free resources to help you along your private practice journey, such as their free webinars, podcasts, and practice building tools. Do yourself and your ideal clients a favor. Get seen and sign up for Brighter Vision today. Visit brightervision.com/try, TRY/startup, STARTUP, to get your first month for free.
We've been partnering with Perry and his team at Brighter Vision for a while now, and we've really enjoyed our interactions with them. They share the same vision as us, helping you fulfill your dream private practice. They're responsive, easy to work with, and create beautifully designed websites. Awesome. So let's go over the 4 tips that you shared thus far. So number 1 was talking about building a referral network of raving fans. 2 is really nurturing your prospective clients, keeping in touch with them weekly by your growing email list and sharing valuable information. 3 was get on Facebook, be visible, do daily posts, really speak to your ideal client, which I like how you said that is imagine that you're speaking right to your ideal client and he or she is listening to you. And 4 was write blogs, solve problems for your prospective clients. So what is your last tip, Katie?
Okay, last tip is invite your clients to your offerings so you can really help them supercharge their results. So I think that there's this fear of like, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to ask for more money. I don't want to ask for something else from my clients who are already coming into the office and paying me. But if you have an offering and you truly believe that this is something that's going to help clients get results, why wouldn't you invite the clients that you already have to sign up? They already know you. They already like you. They already trust you. You know, a buyer is, I don't know the ratio or the statistic, but more likely to be a buyer again than someone who's never bought from you before. So it's already like your warm audience right there. So let them know what it is you have available. The process that I use for this is, talking in session at the end of a session, like, hey, I have this new thing, this new group that I'm offering. It's about this. And I really think it would help you meet your goals of X, Y, and Z, whatever their goals are, as long as I think it aligns with their goals. And I let them know there's no pressure, but this is when they would need to let me know by, because this is the enrollment deadline. I always seed scarcity in my offers because it's what helps people make decisions and supports them in getting off the fence if it's something that's helpful and important for them.
Awesome. Katie, you've been such a delight to have. And I know that you have a giveaway for people to really help them become a group guru. I had to say that slow again. I don't know if I'm going to ever be able to say that fast, but I just might call you the goop, just like I think Allison had the goop. Just combining it all together.
Well, I had a question before we go into giveaway.
Sure.
Yeah, I've had people reach out to me from Psychology Today and stuff like that about groups and potential groups. And I'm not interested in running groups myself, but I have a group practice and have some other practitioners here who would be interested in running a group. How helpful have you found Psychology Today to be as an advertising source for groups?
It's an interesting question because I know there is a space on Psychology Today where you can put in like 2 or 3 groups that you have and people can find you through there. My referrals tend to come from either Facebook, word of mouth, other professionals. Those are some of the bigger sources that we get our clients from, and also schools in the area where I've built really great relationships. So I don't get a lot of referrals from Psychology Today. I find that at least in this area, people use it for more insurance-based services. So I would say if you're already getting referrals through Psychology Today, that it might be a helpful place to put some of those resources. But I always like to be in control of my marketing process. And I know that putting something on Psychology Today is just like crossing my fingers and hoping that somebody's going to see that if they land on my page or they're searching it on Psychology Today. I tend to use these more active strategies of like doing boosts and doing ads and adding tons of value and having people sign up for my list, where then I can be in control of saying, hey, this is what I have to offer. Here's who it's for. Here's what it's about. And here's how to sign up.
Awesome.
That is awesome. So what is your giveaway?
Yeah, so my giveaway is my 5-day Jumpstart Guide. It is a 5-day email course, 5 days of content to show you how to create the course that will meet your ideal client's needs. It'll, weigh the pros and cons of all the different factors that go into starting a group, what kind of group to start, and how to get it started with marketing. And you can find it at becomeagroupguru.com. You just click the big yellow button at the top and it'll get you started right away.
I see you've had plenty of experience saying group guru.
Yes.
And you also said that you closed enrollment recently on your Facebook course. And I'm curious.
Yes, I was going to ask that same question.
How do we find your Facebook course and how do we share that with our audience? Because it sounds like a fabulous resource.
So I will share my Facebook course with you guys just for reciprocity because we're sharing back and forth. And anyone who's interested in learning more about my courses, you can also go to becomeagroupguru.com. All of my courses are listed there under the course tab. If they're not open for enrollment right now, I tend to open a new thing like every month or every other month, whatever I'm feeling in that month. I'm the kind of person who, like, if my energy's behind it and I love it, I go for it and I do it. And I do it in a big way and I share tons of value. So you can always hop on a wait list and you can usually save some money if you're on that wait list for the next time it reopens.
And what I will say to our audience is if you guys have been thinking about Facebook marketing as a way to grow your practice, and I know many of us have different other sources of income or things we're doing. And if Facebook is something that you really want to learn, I know that Kate and I have been learning a lot about Facebook ourselves and utilizing Facebook. And obviously you guys have heard Katie's podcast and she obviously knows what she's talking about. And I'm sure that she can really lead you in the direction that you want to go and actually be able to utilize Facebook as a very strategic marketing strategy. That's kind of redundant, but it sounds like it's really helpful in the way that she goes about her process. And you really want to find, one of the things that we always say is find a system that works, that people are getting results. And obviously Katie's getting results, guys. So check out her information. And we wanted to thank you, Katie, for being here today. But we also wanted to thank Startup Nation for joining us. As always, we really appreciate your loyalty. And I know sometimes we ask you guys to subscribe, rate, review. We run through that really quick, but we'd really like to ask you to take a moment. If you are on iTunes, there's a place where you can go to write a review and really give us your honest review. We want to know what you're enjoying, what you're loving, what you would like to see. It's always great, like Katie's saying, is that because in the world of podcasts, webinars, and online courses, we don't get that immediate feedback. So we always love to know what you guys are thinking. Plus, that keeps us more excited and inspired to inspire you guys from startup to mastery. Next podcast, we're having Eric Villajos from Unconditional Media, because you guys asked, we answered. You guys are asking questions about online marketing. He is going to be here talking to us and you guys about Google AdWords. So we will see you next time, Startup Nation. Have an amazing day.
See you later, Startup Nation. Thanks for joining us on The Private Practice Startup. Visit theprivatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, free trainings, attorney-approved private practice paperwork, and so much more.